Let's just react to the immediate news before we get into kind of last night and big picture and what may happen later today. So the Cavs are acquiring two players from the Lakers, Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. They're jettisoning Isaiah Thomas and also a first-round pick. And who else is going?
Channing Frye.
Channing Frye, shooter, great guy, vet, who played a bunch last night and started recently. What's your reaction to the trade?
I like the trade for the Cavs. Really, both teams. Obviously, you understand why the Lakers did it. They clear up more cap room. Isaiah, you say initially, well, what is that? What's he going to do with Lonzo Ball? I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't finish the season with the Lakers, but obviously he's not in their long-term plans because they want LeBron James.
Right.
They're clearing up cap room to get him. I don't think Isaiah's going to be there if they want to try to get LeBron. So I understand it from their standpoint. The Cavs got younger, more athletic.
Yep.
They needed energy. You saw what Cedi Osman did last night just because he could bring energy. So Larry Nance can do that, I think, to a better degree. The challenge, I think it's a good move for them. It was somewhat addition by subtraction with Isaiah. One of the challenges is that neither of these guys from the Lakers can shoot. So while I like Nance and he can do some things, I think, better than Jay Crowder, he can't stretch the floor like Crowder. Even though Crowder wasn't hitting shots, he could at least theoretically stretch the floor. Maybe the Cavs go back to a little bit. I didn't like it a few years ago when they kind of went from being a tougher defensive-minded team to a glamour three-point shooting team. Maybe they're going to get a little bit more defensive-oriented. The challenge, too, is that Clarkson is similar to Rose and Wade. He's a slasher. He's not a shooter. Like, they really need to get rid of – they're probably not going to get rid of Wade, so probably Rose, too.
Right.
So that – because now you still have those three guys in a logjam.
Now, look, Rose, it's a $2 million deal. It costs you nothing to get rid of him. It just looks bad, right? Yep. But the point is that – and I think sometimes this gets missed, and you and I, we were watching it in terms of basketball and players and trying to – but some of it just comes down to guys want their minutes because their minutes mean their touches, and their touches mean their shots, and their shots mean their points. And they believe that the league will value them. How much money they make next year is based upon how many points they score this year. And some guys just can't. Like, Dwayne Wade, he can say, I don't mind coming off the bench. But when you played 35 minutes a night your whole career, it's really hard to play 15 minutes.
You're a Hall of Famer.
It's not
you're
even
an all-time
it's not even
great,
as,
and
as
you're
much.
behind
It's not just even
Jordan Clarkson.
But it's not even your ego about being behind Jordan Clarkson. It's just hey, I've always had my name called. I've always scored a couple layups early, kind of been able to miss some shots early, gotten a sweat, checked out, checked back. There's a rhythm to it that you've been doing for 15 years, and now somebody says, hey, we want you to be the best version of yourself. Could you do it in 5-minute stretches in the first half and the second half? Sounds like a good idea, but really, really hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Look, I just feel like this is, did you get younger? Yes. Did you get more athletic? Yes. But neither of these two are particularly good defensively. Like Larry Nance, can he guard two positions?
They can be better than what they had. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
just, again, addition by subtraction. Getting Isaiah out of there at 5'9" was good. Both of these guys have the athleticism and the strength to be good defenders. It's just once you have those two qualities, then it's just want to, heart, effort, things like that. So if they can bring that, and now they're playing for something. They're not going to win a championship, but they're playing for that Eastern Conference title. And with Cleveland, even what I saw last night before this deal, I saw enough last night in just LeBron James to tell me if I still have to pick a team that I think is the favorite in the East, I'm still picking Cleveland.
Of course. Well, a little bit of the Cleveland thing is, here's the college basketball reference, right? Kansas has won 13 consecutive Big 12 titles, 13 in a row. This year's team is a shell of the previous teams, right? They lost kid Billy Preston, their top freshman, never played a game. He's playing in Slovenia right now because he was driving a car which nobody could determine who it belonged to. They have no bench. They have no first-round draft picks. And even though the league's not great and they're tied atop the league, They've lost at home now, I think, 3 times already this season. So it's the sky is falling. But still, push comes to shove. You ask me who's going to win the Big 12. I'm going to pick Kansas because they just seem to find a way, which is the same thing as LeBron's been the NBA Finals 7 consecutive years. I think Boston is a better team, even without Gordon Hayward, but I have a hard time picking Boston, especially considering last year.
Boston is 17-12 over the last 2 months.
Right. They've clearly hit a tough stretch. Yep. They've had some injuries as well, but everybody has gotten to that, man, we really need this All-Star break. Toronto appears to be better. Hell, Washington, no one's talking nationally about Washington playing better without John Wall and the weird verbal back and forth between John Wall and some of the guys that are still on the roster. Like, hey, we're moving the ball a whole lot better. Everybody's getting shots without John Wall. Like, that's interesting. So I'm with you on this. Push comes to shove, I still pick LeBron, but man, it's been a tough one. I mean, last night they had to score 140, shoot 51%, make 21 threes just to beat the Timberwolves at home.
The defense still was terrible, but LeBron, I think it really is debatable now whether or not he's still the best player in the world. I think it's a debate. I'm not saying he's not, but it's right. Because the last month he's averaged 22.5 points. But what's not debatable is that he is by far the best player in the East. And I like Giannis, but as far as mentally knowing how to win, Giannis is not there yet.
Right.
So LeBron is clearly, last night, with the way LeBron played reminded me of Game 1 against Boston last year when he scored 38, had 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and just ended that series in Game 1. Or Toronto, where he averaged 36 and toyed with them throughout the series. He showed you last night he can still do that with these Eastern Conference teams. Now, they're not a good team. Even when they play well, they're not a good team. I could argue if they were in the West, they might be the 6th best team. And maybe some people might argue lower. But they're in the East, which is horrible. Can you imagine Toronto in the finals? Come on.
Let me you know what this does, though? The LeBron guys, the Nick Wrights of the world, a little bit of
and I've been known as a LeBron guy until Shannon and Nick Wright came along, and it just lose all objectivity.
There's a political reference to that too, right? Like I grew up in what would be considered, thinking of myself as fairly liberal, right? But now you like some things politically make me feel conservative. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah.
That's right.
Hold on, right?
That's right?
It's the same thing. Like, I like LeBron too, but now I hear some of the rhetoric supporting LeBron. I'm like, whoa, now I feel anti-LeBron. but what you're pointing out, how bad the East is, kind of diminishes this whole. He's been to 7 straight NBA Finals, right? Coming to the NBA Finals out of the East, that's like having the best trailer in a trailer park. You're still in a trailer park.
Yeah, no, there's no question. Look, it's a great achievement, but you're right. It's the East.
All right, here's what I want to ask you upcoming next. I want you to ruminate over something, okay? How does this affect the chances that LeBron comes to the Lakers? How does it affect – and we know Isaiah's not going to be there. How does it affect, though, LeBron coming to the Lakers? Chris Broussard and Kristine Leahy continue to join me. I'm Doug Gottlieb filling in for Colin. That's upcoming next. So, Chris Broussard continues to join us. The news of the day, trade deadline. Cavs win on a game-winning fall-away jump shot by LeBron James. He plays an incredible game. Had a big block shot. Then he hits the game winner. The Cavs win. Everybody's hugging, except the curiously absent. I said this earlier.
That was hilarious.
Right? Isaiah Thomas is like, yeah, guys, we won. And no one's paying any attention to him.
Pulling on LeBron's arm or thigh. Look, maybe it was completely coincidental. Maybe. I don't know, but it looked bad.
And then today, Isaiah Thomas gets traded.
I feel bad for Isaiah. I'm going to tell you why. Last year, he was great. 29 points a game, 5th MVP voting, 53 points on his late sister's birthday, played injured, the whole 9 yards. And when you look at all of the, I'm just going to be nice and say lesser players who have gotten their payday, he is never going to get his payday. He's making, and it's all relative, of course, but he's making $6 million this year. He's not getting that big, the Brinks truck and all that, come on. He'll be lucky to get $15 million a year next year. And so I feel, because he's 29, this is his last big contract.
Got a bad hip.
Yeah, I feel for him Because so many players who aren't half as good and don't have half as much heart and haven't done a quarter of what he's done have gotten paid twice as much, 3 times as much as him. I do feel bad for him.
And
in that
regard. He's got a reputation as a guy who's a little bit hard to get along with.
Yeah.
And it's been earned. Next year, he'll be on a different team next year, so that'll be a 6th team in 6 years for a reason. It did work out in Boston. Part of that is kind of the magic of Boston in what they built around him. Everybody else is playing their tail off defensively and allowed him to be the alpha at the end of shot clocks, at the end of game. He's second leading scorer in the NBA in the 4th quarter last year, right? So it was a perfect setup for him, and he performed way above what anybody thought his previous level would be. But the fall off has been, I mean, the only guy I can think that's fallen off more is Derrick Rose.
Well, and that was obviously due to injury. This is somewhat
injury and reputation too.
With Rose?
Yes. I mean, he bailed on the Knicks last year. He left the Knicks without telling. He went AWOL last year from the Knicks.
Yeah, but I think, look, if he was still productive, like as productive as he had been, that wouldn't matter. You know that.
Of course. But
Isaiah, and I know he's not 100%, but this is kind of who he is.
Right.
He got mad a couple weeks ago when I said he was Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford. I actually think Jamal Crawford is better than Isaiah Thomas.
Correct.
Both at their height.
And they're better at being the 6th man when they don't have to run a team. They get away. They're guarding second backup point guards. They're guarding guys like them that also have flaws. You put them out there with starters, and all of a sudden what people don't understand about the NBA is there is a reason that some guys are starters and some guys are bench guys. And everybody thinks, like, look, if you just prorate my minutes, like
many guys think that.
Right,
that's why the per 40 minutes and per 36 minutes, that's hogwash.
Correct.
Because there are guys in the league that I've covered and watched. They're going to give you the same numbers in 20 minutes a game that they would give you in 38 minutes a game. Like 8 points, 4 assists.
Right.
You look at it in 20, you say, wow, double. No, you can't double it.
Okay, so what's this mean for LeBron and the idea of him coming to L.A. this offseason?
I think it's still – well, first let me say, Rob Pelinka is playing the political game. This is the second favor, and I know it was good for the Lakers, so it was a reason to do it. But remember, he gives Kentavious Caldwell-Pope $20 million a year. All right. Then – he does this deal, which getting Isaiah out of there.
And by the way, the Kentavious Caldwell-Pope thing has not worked out well.
No, but Rob wouldn't say that. He gets Isaiah out of there for Cleveland, gives him some athletic players, some energy. We'll see how it works. But so he's really, this is nice moves for Rich Paul, and who's LeBron's agent, and all of that. But I still think the key to the Lakers getting LeBron is who goes there with him. Who goes there with him? Now, we'll see what Paul George does. I'm of the opinion, I'm giving Paul George credit for being a man truthful to what he's saying. Now, he could change his mind, but what he's saying right now it almost would make him look like a phony if he leaves OKC. I'm not saying sign 3 or 4 years there. I think you stay 1 more year, assuming, they look pretty good in the playoffs. Stay 1 more year, give it a shot, and then you be ready to go to the Lakers if it doesn't work out. You think he should go now?
I just don't understand how there's any more. Like he doesn't sound like there's another year in it. It doesn't feel.
You don't
like
think he sounds like it?
No, he said
it'd be stupid to leave if things are going well. Things are going well.
He said this is after the Orlando Magic law, or when he was asked about the trade deadline and waiving his no trade clause. He said, "Look, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on this team. I'm going to finish out the year." LeBron.
I was talking about Paul George.
Oh yeah, Paul George. Yeah, I still think
he says.
But
yeah,
look,
like
you're asking him now. Like you're asking Paul George now. You're asking Paul George when things are going well and they've swept. They 2 games in a row. They've beaten the Warriors. How he's asked me at the end of the playoffs.
I'm saying if they get to the second round and they would play.
All depends on
Warriors,
how it ends.
Let's say they get to the second round, losing a tough 6 to the Warriors. Does he stay? I mean, we don't know, but I think there'd be incentive.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.